Hey babies. Hey sugar loves, honey buns, apple crisp. Y'all know what it is. Whatever your nickname is, baby. Hello. We back today, y'all. Today was good. Today's Sunday, y'all. So we went to church this morning. It was a good word. I got to visit my husband's cousin church, if I'm not mistaken. New Covenant in Oak Cliff, New Covenant Christian Fellowship, I believe, in Oak Cliff. So I got to visit that today, and that was really good. I'm gonna make something quick, y'all, because I'm a mother. I got a lot of children. Okay, I got a lot of responsibilities. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. My household is usually chaotic. Okay, so I'm gonna make something simple. Most times, if I'm gonna make something complex, it's gonna have to be with my children at school. Okay, so please understand that. But I'm gonna make chicken tetrazzini today. But also because we're going into the spring. Y'all know this is marriage season. I've been seeing a whole bunch of weddings. I'm excited for the newlyweds, for the people who are walking down the aisle. It is a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful witness. Well, it's beautiful to witness. But for today's sake, we're gonna talk about wife preparation. Now, as we talk, I'm gonna be going on and cooking and stuff. So y'all follow me. If you don't know how to cook, let me just say this first. Because I know a lot of y'all like to tussle. Okay. It's okay if that man tells you you don't need to know how to cook, but it's also okay to learn, to show a little bit of appreciation. Okay. It's not bad, but if you are going to be a mother, if God's called you to be a mother or a wife, I think it's best that you pick up a skill, and it's not hard. I promise y'all, it's not going to be hard. I'm going to make something so easy with things y'all can get at any grocery store. Okay. I was talking to my best friend, right? I think I'm going to cut this onion first, y'all, because that's what's going to make me cry. Uh-huh. But I was talking to my best friend the other day, and she's been in a preparation season right now. And I do not like this knife, but she's been in a preparation season. And we were talking, and I was like, when I was talking to God and I was reading my word, I said, you downloaded in my spirit. Because I was reading the word and I was looking at stuff, just about wives and husbands and marriages and stuff like that. And she has a desire to be married. Absolutely. She has a desire to be married. But she was like, as I was telling her, she was like, oh, she's like, that feels so good. But she said she didn't want to get to the point to where she was idolizing a marriage. It's like as soon as we talked about the desire, she knocked it down. And I'm like, why are you knocking it down? And she said, because, I'm just desiring the Lord and, stuff like that. And I said, okay, that's cool. I said, however, what if God planted that desire in you because you're called to be a wife? Not saying that's your only role, but what if God called you to be a wife? It's okay to have that desire. Babe, my eyes gonna tear up. I know they be like, don't cut this part of the onion. I'm gonna cut whatever part I want to. I just cry. Okay. But yeah, so I was like, it's okay if God planted that desire. One big thing to recognize if you are in preparation of becoming a wife is to understand that there is a worldly planted desire and there's a godly planted desire. Most times, it's the world that's planted that desire in you. If the only thing you worrying about, y'all see my eyes, they burning. If the only thing that you worrying about is the wedding. If you are competing with somebody on their wedding and you want your wedding to be this much money with flying angels in the ceiling and 14 dresses that you can change out of, unless you come from a rich household and that's just what you can do. If it ain't in your budget, baby, now, okay, leave that alone. But if you are only focused on the wedding, if you are only focused on the looks of the marriage, like, oh yeah, I want to be able to cook for my husband and I want a beautiful home with a white picket fence on 4 acres of land, you're doing it the wrong way. It's okay to have those desires, but when it becomes the only desire that you have, that's a problem. Also, if you are desperate, if you are rushing, if you are coming from a place of desperation, like I said, if you are competing, if you're rushing simply because everybody else is doing, if you are fighting an imaginary clock, don't get me started on that. But if you are fighting that imaginary clock that tells you if you ain't married by a certain age, you ain't valuable, da 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 da. Yeah, I'm cutting this all kinds of weight. I don't care. It's going in your stomach. Don't worry about all that. Okay. But that's how you know that was planted in you. That's how you know that was planted in you by the world. Okay. If your family's rushing you and all of that, you don't have to rush. However, if you are choosing to marry because you wanted to align with God's purpose, if that's what you're choosing to do, You want to marry because you want to be able to serve, you want a partnership, you want to fulfill the will of God, you want to advance God's kingdom. That's a different conversation. And that's when you know that that is a godly planted desire. The next thing I think it's important, y'all, because I'm married. Let me tell you something. It is important that you are content in your singleness. If you feel like the only way that you'll be complete, the only way that you'll be happy, and y'all, if y'all hear that noise in the background, the top of my house has like this flap. I don't understand it. It's a vent. So if y'all hear that flapping, ignore it. Okay. But you have to be content in your single season. A lot of people are not content when they're single. I remember the guy that I was talking to before my husband, I ended it with him. He was getting on my nerve. Okay. And I was content with ending it with him. And then I was single. And I was content with being single because God showed me what my purpose was. And I was fine with operating in my purpose. I didn't need a man to complete me. I didn't need a husband to make me feel whole. I didn't rely on no human, no man, no nothing for a sense of or personal fulfillment, for a sense of happiness, for a sense of joy, for my identity. No. If you feel like the only way that you'll be able to find out who you are is by marrying, you're going to set yourself up, baby. If you feel like that's the case, baby, you setting yourself up for failure. Like I said, y'all, I ain't no chef. I'm a Southern Belle. Cutting skills ain't going to be the best, but it's going to get the job done. Amen. But you have to be content with being single, knowing that your identity is in Christ. So since we're talking about that, one thing to prepare you for marriage, to prepare you for becoming a wife, is to understand that it's going to take a lot of prayer. You're the woman of the house. If you don't be cooking and stuff, let me tell you something real quick. I always have you some dishwater. Okay. Wash as you go. I can't stand when I see people have a whole bunch of dishes piled up at the end and they don't want to wash it. Just wash as you go. Okay. Simple. So that was bell peppers and onions, y'all. Now, I'm finna get ready to break apart some of this chicken. This is rotisserie chicken. Be easy. Now, if you want to go ahead and you want to make you some broth and you want to boil you some chicken and doing all that, or if you want to get you some chicken breast and grill you some, you can do all that. When you have a household that be needing you at every beck and call, make it easy. Okay. Go to Sam's, go to Wally World. I think Tom Thumb make rotisserie chickens. Go to Costco. I think HEB. Is HEB just in Texas? I think HEB as well. Yeah. Go there. And yes, I'm finna wash my hands with gloves on it because I don't know what's been on these gloves and I'm nervous. Go to one of those places and get you some rotisserie chicken. Then chop that chicken up. I'm gonna show y'all. Be content with being single. A lot of people actually struggle with that. And then also pray. You got to get accustomed and you have to build a relationship with God. Okay, you are going to be the more relational side of your marriage. Your children gonna come to you, your husband gonna come to you, and praying and reading the word and studying, you'll be able to develop that godly wisdom that's necessary to help you navigate the hardships that come in marriage, that come with being a mother, that come when you have financial hardships, that come when life just starts to show up in your marriage. Because you have to understand, it's two of you, not just one. So you always have to think about somebody else. Get in your word. You want to build a relationship with God anyway, so that can form your identity. Okay. Learn how to fast if you don't know how to fast. Learn how to pray if you don't know how to pray, and pray without ceasing. Okay, you got to learn how to do that. The Bible tells us to pray continuously. Continually is what it says. I don't remember where it said. Is it Thessalonians or Philippians? I can't remember exactly what it is, but it tells you that. Okay, so you have to get accustomed to that. You also are going to have to understand that your marriage is going to require a lot. I don't like the skin on chicken, but your marriage is going to require a lot of understanding, a lot of patience. That's why you want to make sure that you have the fruit of the spirit, a lot of patience, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of grace. It's going to require all of that. It's going to be moments where you probably don't even feel up to doing it, but you're going to have to do it. You are the wife of your household. So if your husband is going through things, maybe he can't see because life is whooping his end, or maybe he is bombarded with so many responsibilities, baby, sometimes it's going to take your eye. And one thing you have to prepare yourself is, for one, emotionally. Yeah, a reason why y'all see me chopping this up the way that I am, I'm going to chop all this up, but y'all going to see me cook it through a little bit more. This is cool, but I don't like to see not one drop of pink nothing in my chicken. So it's going to go back and get cooked a little bit longer. Yeah, it's going to be some moments where you're going to have to be that sounding board for your husband, because even with all the wisdom that he has, sometimes when you are so close in the situations that you in, you need somebody from a little further back to see exactly what it is that's going on. Okay. You will be his helpmate. Learning how to be patient, not being impulsive, not using your emotional reasoning, not being, quick to anger, not becoming so anxious to the point where you can't regulate. Or if you do become that anxious, knowing how to regulate your emotions is going to be important in your marriage. It's going to absolutely be important. There's going to be moments where your emotions may get in the uproar, especially as women. We are hormonal, child. Mother Martha be coming in red, and we be going all over the place. And you're going to have to know that men don't always understand that because they don't share that. It's harder doing this, y'all, when it's cold. When this was warm, easy. When the chicken is cold, because I put this in the Frigidaire yesterday. We purchased this yesterday. When the chicken is cold, it's harder to break it all down, but y'all getting it. For instance, if you're a person you like, I'm quick to anger. I blow up. I blow off. No, because when you married, you end up saying some stuff that's going to break your husband down. Have to be mindful of that. A wise woman will build up her home. A fool will break it down just by her tongue. So getting in your word, especially Proverbs, because I know they always talk about being a Proverbs 31 woman. Yeah, that's cool. But the whole book of Proverbs teaches you about wisdom, which starts at fearing the Lord. Not fearing the Lord in regards to like dreading him or being an utter terror, but having so much respect, being obedient, in such awe of God that you don't want to sin, you don't want to go the wrong way, you don't want to do anything wrong. And you also want to make sure that you have enough wisdom to be able to steward your marriage, your household, your finances, your position as a parent, your friendships, your community that you serve with your husband. You want to make sure that you are stewarding those areas appropriately. If you know for a fact that you struggle with anxiety, that's something that you're going to have to start working on before you get married. I don't want that back in like that. That's something that you're going to have to start working on. Your anger is intolerable. When you get mad, you blow up. When you get mad, you gossip and stuff and all. You got to get all under control. You hanging around the wrong people, you're going to have to pray for discernment. If you hanging around fools or you hanging around people who still engaging in doing stuff that is not godly, you're going to have to get that under control. There are going to be sacrifices that you're going to have to make. It's going to be people you ain't going to be able to hang around no more. You're going to have to let them know if you want to let them know. It's going to be boundaries that you're going to have to place with family and stuff in order to honor your marriage and your husband. Because if God has entrusted his son with you, if he has trusted his son with you, you got to make sure that you manage that man well. At least try. If you fall down, you make mistakes, you ask God for forgiveness, you repent, you fix what needs to be fixed. There's also going to be moments where you're going to have to stand in the gap for your children, your husband, whoever, and you're going to have to pray. The world is going to work. That's the head of your family. The world, the enemy, is going to work against your husband. And you have to be prepared for that. In the moments where he is too weak to pray, he is too weak to get down on his knees, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be doing a lot of that for him. You surely are. That's going to be important, knowing how to fast. Fasting lets God know that you are willing to make a sacrifice to get closer to him, to hear his voice. That is a sacrifice that is important to make. And God honors that. But also fasting gets you away from distractions. Fasting is still a process in a sense to where I don't want to say it necessarily purifies you, but it sanctifies you in a sense. And that's really important. You're going to need that because you're going to have to sanctify your marriage. You're going to need to have moments where you can be in consecration with God. So if you've been a person who's been chasing the world and partying and stuff, and you ain't been in consecration with God, you can't even give God 30 minutes of your day, you're going to have to start practicing that. Because it's going to be moments where you got to surrender. You're going to have to surrender to God's will anyway. It's going to be moments where you're going to have to sacrifice how you feel, where you want to go, who you want to hang out with for the sake of your marriage and the sake of your husband. And not everybody's going to get with the program. And if they don't, that's fine. Not everyone's going to get with the program. As long as you are in alignment with God's will. God is always orchestrating stuff. Okay? He puts that deep desire in you. It's not about just the wedding. It's not about the ring. It's not about me marrying because my homegirls are getting married. I'm about to serve somebody for the rest of my life. And the only way that a marriage can be successful is crucifying to yourself. It's the crucifying of self. It's crucifixion to be able to die to yourself for the sake of your husband, for the sake of your wife. You understand me? And in this regards, I'm talking about your husband. It's the same way you have to die to your flesh to get closer with God. It's the same thing to be able to make it into the kingdom. You are going to be assigned to steward, to manage a kingdom marriage, baby. You understand that? You are a kingdom spouse, baby. A kingdom spouse is important, child. That's the role that you have. You got to get prepared for that. You need to get prepared to start getting out there and, helping the homeless, feeding the needy, doing kind acts. Get ready for that because God is going to call you to do it and you have to be prepared. I think I kind of want, you want more chicken in the bake? Huh? Yeah. More than just this one bird? Okay. Oh, pasta going to be chicken. You sure about that? Just put half of it. I better say you can eat the rest of the chicken tomorrow. I can make you a chicken sandwich. Or some. Yeah, because it's a lot of chicken. The Bible says, he who findeth a wife, not just a woman, he who findeth a wife. That means you're already developing those wife-like qualities and characteristics, baby. You're more patient. You're more understanding. You're more kind. You're able to submit. You yield to somebody else's understanding. You are a helper. You are a team player. You are supportive. You build up with the things that you say and the things that you do. You know how to honor somebody outside of yourself. You know how to honor someone else's opinion, their perspective. You have more empathy, more compassion. You understand that? Those are wife-like qualities. And God is going to equip you. If he has assigned you and called you to marriage, because like I said, it is a calling. Being a wife, that is a calling, not just a desire. Marriage is a calling, not just a desire. So whatever it is that you are called to do, God is going to equip you, but he is also going to prune you and he is also going to refine you. You're going to go through certain processes in your life to where you have to be refined. You're going to go through processes in your life to where you have to practice forgiveness. You have to practice understanding. If this one roasted, baby, it's be a good look. I can use that for some broth, but I ain't gonna do it. The bones wasn't big enough. Put your oven on 350. Go ahead and let that start heating up. Get your water ready for your noodles. Al dente. Al dente. Okay, don't let your noodles get too mushy and too soft because you're gonna be putting these same noodles in your pasta with all your cheeses and stuff in the oven for about 30 minutes. You cook it too long, it's gonna be mushy. It's gonna taste like you're eating pudding. Don't do that. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and get this started. Let's get it started in here. What you'll probably notice if you have been called to be a wife is you're going to start attracting godly men or people with godly character or someone who has a calling over their life that God is working through as well. It's a beautiful experience to have. You also are going to see that you're starting to be in spaces where marriage starts to present itself. So you're starting to be around like friends who are married, friends who have godly marriages, friends who have healthy marriages. And when I say healthy, it doesn't mean that they ain't going to have no problems, but it means they're going to know how to navigate those problems. Come on now here. And then I'm gonna start heating this up too. Turn that handle this way. I'm going to sear the bell peppers and the onions, and then I'm gonna put the chicken in. I'm gonna put a stick of, it's not even a stick of butter, it's like a fourth of stick. It's like half a stick. It's half a stick of butter. I like for my chicken to be flavored too. Like rotisserie chicken is flavored, but y'all get what I mean. But yeah, you're gonna start to see that you are around more godly people, more people who love marriage, and marriage is not their identity though. They still have their lives outside of that. You can end up hanging around people who are single, don't respect marriage, are still in the club, still acting a fool and all of that. And let me tell you something, they don't have nobody's best interest at heart but their own. And them are not the people that you need to be around if marriage is what you are planning on doing. You want to be around people who represent God and who represent marriage. I think I talked to y'all about this before though, but whenever I was single before I married, like I said, I was operating in my purpose. I know I said this a while ago, but I thought I talked to y'all about it before, but I was operating in my purpose and there was joy in my purpose. I started preparing myself, but by then God started telling me things in a way, speaking to me, and I'm grateful for that. When my husband came around, like I said, we've been knowing each other for a long time, since we were 13. But when he came around, it wasn't going to kill me if we didn't make it to that level. It wasn't going to kill me if he was like, yeah, I'm just not ready for marriage. Cool, because I wasn't desperate for it. And it was his decision when he said, yeah, that's my wife. At that point, I was so content that God was like, all right, you ready. Like, you're not desperate for it. You're not codependent. You're not going to lose yourself behind this. Yeah. So by then, I feel like I was ready, and I believe that God thought I was ready as well. There is a peace that you have to have about life, about the idea of marriage before you get into that marriage. Because if not, if things happen, problems happen, conflicts happen, disagreements, changes, differences in opinions, differences in values and stuff like that, that piece is going to go out the window. You're going to be anxious and you're going to be a mess. You will run into differences. You will run into hardships, and sometimes the hardships don't even have nothing to do with you. Sometimes the hardships have everything to do with what's happening outside of you. And you'll fall into that place of being stuck. And it over time, it feels like it's just changing your marriage. You're going to run into hardships. You're going to have moments that you're going to face. It's going to be moments where you're going to sit down and you're going to be like, Lord, how am I going to make it through this? But you are going to have to pray, take it to your prayer closet, take it to a space where you can simply just pray, get in your word, and remind yourself that this marriage is not just about feelings. This marriage is not just about the simple fact that I love this person. This is a God ordained marriage. I made a vow. I am in a covenant, not just with my husband, with God as well. So unless it's something that is just catastrophic, like I'm dealing with some type of abuse or adultery left and right, I need to be able to sit in this and say, God, I need you to order my steps. I need your help right now. Because you're going to have those moments. Y'all both are human. Differences in personalities, temperaments, attitude, backgrounds, upbringings, history, the way y'all handle things, all of that stuff is going to show up. And you got to be prepared for it. That's going to be really important that you are prepared for that. See how I'm cleaning this can, y'all? Y'all thought I was playing right. Because I don't know if Tom and Jerry was playing over these cans, but I don't got time. Come on in the room. Come on. So I use bag cheese, y'all, because I cannot stand grating cheese. It gets on my nerves. Okay, I don't like it. And it was somebody I saw on TikTok University one time, and she was rinsing off her cheese, and I've been using that trick ever since. So even when I make my macaroni, it ain't nothing that's not sticking. You don't have no grainy nothing. It's still smooth. Okay, when I make that roux, it's still doing what it needs to do. Okay, like I said, we like to make things easy. I'm a mother of 10 million. Okay, understand that. All right. My princess want to come help me cook, so I'm gonna bring my baby girl on. Come on, princess, you can come in here and cook some honors. Okay, princess, I need you to do me a favor, baby girl. All these cans right here. Okay, this is cream of chicken, right? And this is cream of mushroom. I want you to open those cans up and then dump them in that bowl. Okay, baby? Go. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and do what you need to do. Let me scoot out your way. I'm grateful because like my grandma and them, they the ones who taught me how to, well, my grandmother, she's the one who taught me how to cook. It was nobody else. It was my grandma. My grandma used to have me and my cousin Day waking up on holidays earlier than everybody else, picking, cutting green beans, cleaning chitlins, prepping black-eyed peas, and man, it's so much that she had us doing. But I am not complaining. Because if it's two people who know how to cook, it's me and my cousin. Sorry, babe. That's making. No. Okay. So yeah, in your prepping season, also find you some hobbies. If you don't know how to clean up, get on TikTok University while still yet living before they get rid of that app, as they've been threatening to do for the longest. And just really, really, really start developing skills, y'all. It ain't hard. Like, I'm happily married. I know how to cook. but I do not know how to bake. I don't even want to say that I don't know how to bake. I don't like it. I like cooking the meats and stuff, the sides and stuff. But if you say, Kitty, let's cook a cake and stuff, I'm gonna say, first, third, you can go talk to the Lord about that. So I'm gonna start taking some baking classes. I told baby that. Because I plan on being a nanny mom one day. I threw a couple pieces of cheese at that one. I plan on being a nanny mom one day. And that means that I'm gonna have some grandchildren and I want to be able to make some biscuits. You dump that? Yep, dump that in there too. You're gonna dump 2 cans of cream of mushroom and 2 cans of cream of chicken. I hear people talk about, I'm in my Ruth era and I'm in my Esther era, and I'm like, let's talk about that, because Esther was that girl. She was a Jewish girl. Mordecai, which is her cousin, who was a scribe as well, very educated, like 3 different languages. He taught her how to be clever with her words. She knew how to talk, and that was one way of her gaining favor. But he told her, do not tell this man that. You can leave that alone. Oh, okay. He said, do not tell anybody that you are a Jew. Haman, one of the officials, he ended up being elevated to another position and whatnot. And, getting big headed. And he was like, I want everybody to bow to me. And Mordecai was like, I'm not bowing to you. And so he was like, I'm going to have this man executed. Powerful, right? Arrogant, prideful. Y'all know how it goes. Most of the stories in the Bible talk about something like that. He wanted Mordecai to be executed, and he also wanted the Jews to be killed. Now, mind y'all, Esther is a Jewish girl, but she ain't told nobody that. So Esther ends up, and this is where being wise comes from, and being patient and following God's will, because God had already orchestrated this anyway for Esther to go ahead and come on. And before I even get to that, mind you, when Esther went through that 12-month program, that beauty program, the first 6 months of that, there we go. That's boiling pretty. The first 6 months of that, Esther she was like, I don't know if y'all know what myrrh is, but it's like a resin that comes from the inside of a tree. It's a certain type of tree. I think it's like a common four. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it has a strong, it's like you'll find in essential oils, has a strong smell to it, but it has healing powers as well. It has antibacterial, anti-inflammatory agents in it, and great smell to it, healing properties, and it was used for like purifying and things like that. When Jesus was born, they brought myrrh to him, and then also at his burial as well. So think about that. If you inhale and stuff like that, because that's the practice that they had back then with the myrrh, if you inhale it and stuff and all that, it's like an emotional detox. It calms you down, and then you can put it on like certain wounds or your skin, and it helps the inflammation. It calms the skin, all of that. So I say all of that because if you look at it from a spiritual aspect, she went through a process of purification and refining. Baby, you want to come put these noodles in here? Yeah, just pull it back. You good? Don't be scared now. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's gonna start going down in a minute. There we go. So yeah, she went through a purifying process, and she had favor, and the king was won over by her. But back to Haman. So he's trying to kill the Jews and stuff like that. But before he even got to that point, when the king went to sleep, he could not sleep. He was troubled in his sleep. And so he went to look at all of the things that Mordecai had done for him. And he was like, yeah, because at first he approved the execution of Mordecai, but he thought Mordecai was just a horrible guy. And then he's like, no, he did some great things. So he was like, all right, we're going to go ahead and reverse that order. Haman wanted to kill the Jews. And Esther went before the king uninvited. So, she could have got persecuted for that. And she was like, if I perish, I perish. Because Mordecai told her, hey, I need you to go tell the king, don't kill the Jews. And she was like, oh, I don't want to perish. If I go in front of this man, I'm going to die. And he was like, look, what if God called you for this exact moment right now? So you know what she did? She did it. What if God called you for this exact moment? He ended up not going through with killing the Jews. Haman ended up getting killed on the exact space that he was prepping for Mordecai's execution. Esther saved the Jewish people. She saved God's people. She had a purpose. She fulfilled that purpose outside of just her identity, but she used her marital duty to fulfill God's will. She used the purpose within her marriage and her partnership with her king, her husband, to fulfill God's will. Now, of course, back then in that time, it was a completely different time in 400 something BC 470 something, 480 something BC is crazy. But I'm saying that because even in the preparation for her to become a wife, she went through a purifying process. She went through a refining process. And that's what you have to go through as a wife, to detox you from all of your past wounds, to help you heal from the things that it is that you have gone through, to help you heal from the spaces where you were broken, to help you become better in regulating your emotions and more patient and more willing and more forgiving and more collaborative and more supportive. You have to go through those things, and anything that feels like it is going to go against the will of God, or anything that feels like it is going against the commandments of God, that it is not godly, you got to get rid of it. Esther went through a process, and she had to be wise, but she had to trust God. Also, that was something that I missed as well. Before the Jews, before she even went to the king and stuff, when she knew what was going to happen to the Jews, Esther told the Jews, I need y'all to fast and I need y'all to pray. 3 days Esther fasted. She was a fasting, praying woman because she knew how a fast works. Baby, if I can make this sacrifice, and I know for a fact that it will remove all the distractions, because if I don't know if y'all fast before, but fast removes you from distractions. You ain't on social media. You are consecrated with God. You are in your word for a couple of hours if you have to be. You're not having sex. You ain't doing none of that. Okay? And the people did that. And it makes it very easy for you to hear God's voice. But also, God acknowledges that sacrifice because you are sacrificing your flesh. It's powerful. If y'all ever seen people fast, it is so powerful. You want to hear God's voice? Fast. And that's what she did. So she was a fasting woman. She was a praying woman. She was wise. She knew when not to speak and when to speak, because she was clever. Mordecai taught her that. Like I said, he was a scribe, great over communication. She had the characteristics of not just a wife, but a wise woman. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just a woman. A wife has to apply great wisdom in her house and in her marriage. And she served the people. She sacrificed for the people and she surrendered to God's will. That's preparation of a wife. Y'all get what I'm saying? Now, can you give me the chicken over there in the bowl? Just bring the whole bowl here. That's almost where I want it. You got to know how to steward your relationship with God. So pray. Take some time to get close to God. Understand what the army of Christ, what the army, what the armor of Christ is, so you'll know how to put it on when times get hard in your marriage, when y'all start having conflict that just simply don't make no sense. Also, stewarding a relationship with yourself as well. That's going to be extremely important. What are you doing for yourself to make sure you are helping yourself emotionally, to make sure you are helping yourself spiritually? What exactly are you doing? Are you learning how to go on walks when you get too angry? Are you learning how to be patient? Or one of the exercises I do with my clients a lot of times, and it's something I did a long time ago to help me become more patient. But being a mother teaches you a patience that nothing else can ever teach you, okay? But I used to sit in the grocery line a long time ago, y'all. And it was one of the hardest things for me to do. Not get on your phone, but take the magazines off the thing and just read them. Get in the longest line with one of the slowest people. Find you the slowest person. Y'all did that a couple times and it ran me insane. But I had to sit in it and I had to force myself to sit in it. And that's going to be really good for preparation if you want to learn patience. Okay. Also, being a better communicator is going to be important as well. You're going to fall short. You are a human. You're going to fall short. But at least you are trying to communicate, trying to listen, trying to understand. And a lot of times that becomes a battle too. Even the best communicators can fall short. So that's one thing. Baby girl, here, get the spoon. Yep, come here. Scoop the chicken here. Whatever chicken is left, dump it in there. Girl, scoop the chicken, child. Oh. Here, start it up. Good job. Just get up in there and scoop that around now. Also, ask yourself, who are you hanging around? What type of people are you hanging around? Because the type of people that you hang around can definitely put you in some of the worst situations too. If you know that you are called to be a wife and there is a deep desire in you and you know it is a God-planted desire, be mindful of who you are hanging around. Because the very people that you are hanging around can end up making you and causing you to miss your blessing. Can be around people who don't respect marriage, who are not called to be married, who don't respect men. That's another thing. Okay. Don't be putting yourself in those situations to where you are around people who say they don't respect men. Because how do you ever think you ever gonna be married? How's that gonna happen? You want to start it up in the back? Just stir the noodles up in that them sauces over there. Hold the bowl. Hold the bowl. Hmm. Don't be nervous. Just get all up in there. While you stirring the top, scoop it at the bottom. See how I'm holding it? Hmm. Scoop it at the bottom, okay? Just scoop it. You got to get it all up in there and break that cheese apart, okay now? Let's go ahead and pull that back a little bit for your hair to get up in some stuff. I'm going to end up eating her. I just put some salt, pepper, paprika, garlic salt. It's already onions in there, so I ain't finna do all that. Watch your hand, baby. Watch out. Yeah. Ask yourself, am I stewarding my relationship with God well? Have I been taking the time to get closer to God? Yes or no? Also, have I been stewarding my finances well? One of the biggest stressors in a marriage is finances. I'll never measure stuff. Let me see, baby. Got to get a little arm up in that baby, okay? Don't be too cute with it. Get on up in that thing. You're over trying to be cute. That little cute little smile. Like I said, y'all, I don't measure nothing. I simply don't measure nothing. I'm going to flip this over, okay? You hear me? I'm going to flip that. And you're going to take that spoon, you hear me? And you're going to scoop whatever's on the corners into this. You got it. What I say you going to do? What you going to do again? You going to do what? One more time, you going to do? Okay. You got to make sure that you get that thing up in there. You hear me? All right. You going? There you go. All right. Hold that spoon right there. Hold it over there, okay? Hold it over there, okay? How you gonna scoop with a turn like that? If you don't turn it, you gonna use your left hand or your right hand? You be using both, so I never know what you're gonna do. Now, what I say you gonna do? Amen. Slow it down. Slow it down. Come on, get scoop it from the top. Don't be scared. Don't be scared now. Amen. Look what the Lord has done to you. Look at all that goodness the Lord gave her. He gave us a cow that said, I'm gonna give y'all some sheep. He gave us a chicken that was like, oh, we was gonna eat it. All right. Now, me being me, I'm gonna cook this like 15 minutes and I'm gonna go in and stir it up some because I be needing all of that flavor and that goodness and all the great things that God has blessed us with in this pasta. To go ahead and make sure that it meet every pasta noodle that's in here. That's what we're gonna do. Y'all see that? It ain't hard and it's gonna be so good. Hold on. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's all right. Before, okay? If you are in your prepping season, get around the right people, get the right mentors, seek wise counsel. Get in touch with your leaders who can tell you what it is that you need. Because if you have conflict with your husband and stuff, you're going to need to know that wisdom that God gives you in your word because you ain't going to be able to gossip to everybody about him. It's going to be moments where it's really just you and your husband in the ball game. Y'all the ones that's in y'all marital home. Y'all know everything that's needed. Y'all know everything that's showing up in your marital home. And it's going to take you and your husband. And if God allows it, both of you all will be able to sanctify your marriage. Both of you all will be in the word, praying, close to God. Okay? Your husband will find you. You don't got to go looking for him. He'll find you. Or at least God will orchestrate it to where he can find you. Man, every woman who is prepping to be a wife has a myrrh season. That means that you have a season of purification, a season of refinement, a season of where you are going through that refinery and you are coming out pure on the other side. Not pure, meaning that you ain't gonna have some flaws later on, but meaning that whatever traumas are holding you back, whatever unresolved mindset, whatever unresolved emotions, all of that, you'll be able to process, baby, okay? I had a deep desire at one time to be married. And then that deep desire, it was always there, but it was with the wrong people. I was looking at it, I'm like, but then God really started opening my eyes to like the guys that I was talking to. It's like, I would see it and I'm like, could I imagine being married to you? Oh God, no. Uh, you ain't the right guy. You don't have your stuff together. I gotta help you too much. The Bible calls for me to be a helpmate, okay? Not a crutch, okay? Like I can help build you by my words and how I support you and how I enlighten you and things like that, how I encourage you, but not a means of me losing myself to be able to build you up to a goal in a direction that you were supposed to already have. You get what I'm saying? So when I did go through the processes that I did in the years after, I was like, no, don't like that about you. Couldn't see myself with you. No, don't like that about you. Couldn't see myself with you. And it was just a lot of things. But my grandfather, I was extremely, extremely close to my grandfather before he passed. God rest his soul. God rest his soul. Love you, Smooth. But before he passed away, although my grandfather had some flaws, I saw him take care of the household. My grandma had whatever she wanted, it was hers. You want to watch it? Oh, okay. You sure? I see. You want to, most kids don't say, Mama, let me wash the dishes. But okay. You want to watch the big pots? The big things? Or you want me to wash them? You want to wash all of them? I ain't going to argue with you, baby. I promise you I ain't going to argue with you. I'm going to rinse my hands off. My grandfather, he made sure that my grandmother had everything that she wanted. He was a carpenter, and I just watched him be a man. I just watched him go to work, take care of things, make sure the household was good. He helped raise my cousins and stuff like that. He helped raise my grandmother's children. He didn't have to. He didn't have no children himself. So, yeah, it was just, and so when my husband, this is funny because before me and my husband had even started dating, mind y'all, we've been friends. So over the years, anytime I had something going on, I just felt like we were synced. Don't know how we were. We never touched each other, nothing like that. But it just, all you gotta do is just clean it off, put it over there, and then we're gonna rinse it at the end, okay? That's why the water bill be $200. But my husband would, y'all, my car, the brake light was always going out. It was either brake light or the tire. And it just seemed like he just knew, because then he'll hit me up and be like, what you doing? On the side of the road right now, as a matter of fact. Or just got pulled over. Lights out again. And he'll be like, where you at? Let him know where I'm at. I never had it was never no, is somebody there to help you? Did you call somebody? It was where you at? He would stop oh, you're my baby. Mm-hmm. He would stop everything that him was doing. Because he was probably out there being a little, never mind. I'm kidding, I'm playing. He would stop what he was doing to come help me. And it was always like, all right, what, like, unless he just need to know what kind of car I had, all right, what kind of car. But by then he knew, or else we'll go together. And it was always on him. It just seemed like either he would call me and I was in some type of rut, or else we'd just be on the phone. I'm like, dang, I just did such and such. And he was just always there. And he really reminded me of my grandfather. It was a guy I was talking to when I was young. I think like 20, 19, 20. I don't remember how old I was, but my sister's car, I lived in Grand Prairie, and my sister's car, she had a flat or something like that. And so I pulled up, I was talking to my mom. My mom was like pulling up, and she had pulled up by my sister. I pulled up behind her, and I'm sitting in the car. My mama is out there helping my sister, and I look at the dude. He got on his phone. Was on Twitter. Now, one time did he get out that car to go help my sister? And I said, oh. My mama told me, I got out the car. My mama said, who's that? I told her, she said, don't you ever bring him around me, ever. So you know what I did? I went to my house. I let him get his things. I said, yeah, I'm going to take you to your car, because he had parked his car. I took him to his car, and he thought everything was good and gravy. I drove over to my mama's house. Before I can even get out of my car, I had already changed my number with Sprint. Yeah, I made sure he was never going to be able to find me again. I blocked him on everything. I changed my number on Sprint. And the rest is history, because you suck. Lord, I'm sorry. I mean, but what good are you? You don't know how to do anything. Like, my grandfather taught me how to do so many things. So what good are you if you see a woman in distress, or if you see a woman needs help, and you will, oh, Lord. Okay, sugar love, let me see. Let me see that real quick. Okay, let me just clean it in the water, because it's going to scrape the bottom of that. You see how it's banging against that? It's going to scrape that, okay? And that's how when you get in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, every noise gonna bother you. And I do mean every. Okay? Every noise. Child, let me tell you something. If you can't do something as a man, you need to go be finding you some skills to work on. YouTube University is free. TikTok University is free. It's not hard to figure things out. If I can figure them out, so can you. 3 more minutes, I'm gonna pull this tetrazzini out. I'm gonna stir it up a little bit because it's been about 15 minutes, or I probably just stir it up while it's in there. I got the green beans going right now. They doing what they need to do. And then after that, y'all, I'm gonna put this bread in, and then I'm gonna get ready to feed the family. So y'all let me know if y'all want me to come on and put these meatballs and stuff together and my greens and stuff. I'm gonna talk to y'all about whatever it is that y'all want to talk about. We can have a general conversation if y'all want to, okay, babies? Make sure that you all like this video, share it with somebody, baby. Share it anywhere, baby. Take a clip and share it. Baby, you turned me up over here. I swear I took a bath already. And I do mean you turned me up. And make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. And if you are prepping to become a wife, congratulations. I am excited for you. Blessings upon you and blessings upon your marriage, okay? I wish you all the best. Happy healing and happy, healthy relationships. Bye, babies.